Hey there, Scorpio. It's Keaghan. Welcome to your November bonus reading. I just wanted to say hello to you guys first and foremost. I'm going to start with my Oracle deck, get a couple of Oracle cards out for you guys. Just a little bit of disclaimers here at the beginning because there are a lot of new people who have subscribed to the channel. This is a general love reading. That means that the energies can be reversed. Take what resonates with you and leave the rest. This is for Scorpio Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising signs. Crosswatchers are welcome, but you're watching at your own risk. I do say exactly what I see. Again, energies can be reversed, so, but don't come for me in the comments. If you're a crosswatcher watching a video, just be prepared to hear stuff you might not want to hear. It's kind of a given for most of these readings, okay? So Scorpios, this is your first reading from me, from my new home. I moved. So I live in Montana now, which is a big change, but it's good. Very happy that I decided to follow my intuition on that one and check things out. Okay. This card has been coming out in so many of my personal readings, and it just came out here as well. I think people just need this message right now. I'll read it to you in a second in case you can't make out that fine print. Anything else want to come out for Scorpios? Okay. Okay, so Scorpios, this is a card that I mentioned. This has been coming out for lots of people. So this says, I create mindful moments throughout the day, reminding myself that I am love and miracles are natural. That's been coming out in so many of my personal readings. Seeing it again, I just feel like people need to be reminded of this, that being spiritual, practicing spirituality, it's not just about, meditating once a month or, watching a couple of tarot readings on YouTube. It really is about being sure throughout the day, every day, that you're being mindful and reminding yourself that you're love. You are the embodiment of love. Your existence is love. And that miracles are natural things. Miracles, can be totally natural and abundant in our lives if we allow them to be. Okay. The other card that came out says, in any moment I can surrender to the powerful presence of love through prayer, contemplation, and stillness. Very much the same type of messaging. So I do know that just from the readings that we've done, Scorpio, recently, there has been a lot of transformation going on within Scorpio, at least for the group that I read for. It's very interesting to me because it's almost like a new group of Scorpios leveled up. Like they finally had that Phoenix moment where they just rose up and, they were truly evolved. They realized they can be the source of a lot of their own pain and sadness and starting the process of confronting that truth and reflecting back on their lives and looking at areas where they really were, either in their own way or the cause of whatever pain and suffering was going on was because they had gotten stuck in that energy that Scorpios can get into, which is very needing to feel the depths, needing to feel the darkness, needing to feel the heaviness, needing to feel the pain. But for my readings and the Scorpios who, have resonated with them, it's really a process of shedding that, of realizing, okay, well, you know what? I've spent a lot of time exploring how bad things can be. Perhaps now I'm going to spend some time exploring how good life could be. Maybe I should see what that's like. And it's almost like Scorpio needs to give themselves permission in order to feel that lightness and that happiness. It's a very interesting energy that I've been picking up on for, probably since summer for you guys. And, as the readings have gone on, that process has just become more and more solidified. So I do feel like, being in a situation of reminding yourself that you really do need to be mindful throughout the day. You really do need to practice your spirituality, practice your own connection to source and what you're trying to manifest into the world. Make that a daily practice, multiple times during the day. Reflect on how grateful you are. Reflect on the good things that you have in your life. Think about the things that you want to manifest and draw into your life. This deck is very talkative. thought we had one that flipped. Okay, let's just start with what we have here. I actually feel these this way before looking at them, so I'm just going to take them that way. Okay. Scorpio, let's take a look at these cards. We'll just walk our way through them. Just kind of spending some time to see if anything... Okay. First card coming out for you, Scorpio, you have the Four of Swords. It's reversed. You know, this card can represent being in a state of exhaustion, just being done, being over it, not having anything else left to give. But it can also represent being in a place of very deep contemplation. So when this card's upright, it's, you know, being in a contemplative state. This card also can have a meaning when it's reversed, that it's just a very deep level of contemplation, to the point that almost it's like nothing else is going on. Nothing else is going on in your life other than that contemplation. Your energies become stagnant within that fixation point. And it feels very deep. Lots of thinking that has been going on. The Seven of Swords is very interesting to me, Scorpio, because this card traditionally represents betrayal or deception, someone getting away with something, right? It almost feels like this is how Scorpio... Sorry, I need to get something to drink. Like my throat started closing up as soon as I wanted to say what I was going to say. Some of you don't want me to say it, but I'm going to. It's almost like this energy, Scorpio has turned it towards itself. Looking at the things that they've done in their life, both to themselves and to other people, and realizing that there was a lot of self-betrayal going on. There was a lot of self-deception. There was a lot of not holding ourselves accountable and letting ourselves get away with things that we just shouldn't have been doing. Behavior that we should not have been displaying. You guys are seriously messing with my throat. My goodness. All right, Three of Wands here. This is a good card. The reason I grouped these cards together is because, you know, this felt very heavy in terms of energy. The energy coming off that card felt very heavy. Like I said, it was this almost like self-loathing type of reflection upon the things that you've done, the way that you've betrayed yourself and betrayed relationships that you've had. This Three of Wands, though, this is a great card to have here because this is a card that represents progress, expansion, things actually expanding. This is really good, and it's come out here with the Nine of Pentacles, which is upright. This is another great card because this represents abundance. This is having a life that has pretty much everything in it firing at all cylinders, except maybe perhaps having that person to share that life with. I get a lot of emotion from you guys on that. There's a lot of emotion in what I just said. Scorpio, don't be scared of building a life for yourself that makes you happy. Don't be scared to have success. Don't be scared to be okay just being on your own. Building a life that is wonderful, that challenges you, setting goals and reaching them. You don't have to have a counterpart in order to be happy. You don't have to have a counterpart in order to be successful. There's a lot of emotion around that, though. I think a lot of you listening fear that maybe you won't ever find a connection that is as deep and meaningful as what you really want your relationship to be. It's like for Scorpio, it's not enough to be really in love with someone. You also have to be really interested in them. They have to make you think. They have to make you feel things on a very deep level. You have to trust them. They have to trust you. There are all of these things that Scorpio puts upon their ideal, right? Like their perfect relationship, their perfect type of love. It does create a situation, I feel, where creating a life that's just short of that, 10, that complete family, if you get to this point in your life, you are by no means a failure. Like, by no means. If you reach this point in your life and you also get the opportunity to be in a great relationship that fits what you actually want in a relationship, then that's even, double blessings, right? I don't like this card necessarily when it's upright, because it's victim mode. It's, being trapped in your own head and not being able to figure that out. But when it's reversed, I actually kind of like this card, because this card represents finally releasing some of the negative thoughts that we have, any of those negative Nancy type of self-critic that's in our head, places where we don't like ourselves very much, places where we limit ourselves. It's about releasing those things. This Knight of Swords coming out reversed, I don't necessarily like this vibe very much. I feel like it's energy around this. It's a very unfocused, kind of impulsive energy. I almost feel like some of you, I feel like, okay, this is what I get from this. This is not necessarily traditional interpretation of these two cards. I mean, I just sort of gave you the traditional one. But intuitively, energetically, what I get for these two cards, for some of you, not necessarily all, it's like you're almost thinking, maybe I should just jump into something new, so I don't have to deal with this stuff. But maybe if I'm just with someone, I won't feel so alone. Like maybe just anyone could fill the void. But that's not going to work, because you have, like I was saying, so many things that you measure what your ideal relationship, your ideal love, your ideal connection would be. There's so many things around that when something falls short of even like your minimum requirement, you're never going to be happy in it, because you wouldn't even be happy in the minimum requirement relationship, because you would be aware of the things that didn't exist between the two of you that you wished were there. And I know a lot of people, I'm going to do this card this way. Good. I'm glad that came out that way. A lot of people will say, if you're too picky, love this. Good. If you're too picky, if you are so specific about what you want, then no one's ever going to be able to make you happy. Well, here's the thing. You don't need another person in order to be happy. There's this notion that we can't be happy unless we're in some sort of partnership. And it's one thing to want that, to say, yeah, I would love to have a connection with someone. I would love to share a wonderful life with someone else. But, it needs to be a certain way for it to really be what you want. Like, why settle for something that doesn't fit what you want? And the answer is always like, well, if you're too picky, no one's ever going to be enough and you're just going to end up alone. Well, okay, well then if no one lives up to what I want, then I'll have a great, wonderful life on my own. I'll have a great and wonderful life surrounded by friends. I'll be strong. I will, lean on my own strength. I'll find my own spot in the world. I'm going to do things a little bit differently than how people think I need to do them. I'm thinking I'm changing how I think about things that I've believed for a long time. But I'm starting to look at them and evaluate them and think if maybe they could be different. having the courage to really dive deep. Like I'm going to be amazed if the Devil card doesn't come out here, or the Tower at least. Like one of those cards during this reading has to come out because I feel it so strongly here. But it's coming from this place of strength. Like I'm okay if all this crumbles. I'm okay. It almost feels, Scorpio, like with this Three of Pentacles, you know, this is the card that represents like teamwork and collaboration. I feel like what you're doing, Scorpio, is you're sort of saying, look, I'm done settling. I'm done settling. Because I'm done settling, it's bringing up a lot of this like stuff I need to think about and trying to figure out how I can expand my life to get to this ultimate life that I want to create. But I know that when someone comes in, when people come in and I care about people, they chip away at the energy that I can put towards manifesting this life that I want, because then I have to give energy to them. I have to think about them. I can't focus just on myself. But I'm done giving that type of energy to people who really just don't deserve it. And so this energy, to me, these three cards, what I really get here is that you're looking at your connections with your friends. You're looking at all of your connections, your relationships in general, family, friends, coworkers, your job, your geographic location. You're looking at everything, Scorpio, and you're saying, you know what? I'm going to do this differently. You sort of get to decide whether or not you are in my life. You get to decide whether or not you're going to stick around. And for the people who show up, and show to me that they really do care, that they really are there for me, I'm going to give my all to them, right? I'm going to commit fully to those people who show up. And the people who don't show up, I'm fine if they just go away. But the snag, the energy that I keep getting pulled back into is this vibe. Because again, I feel like for some of you, like you almost feel like, and this is so confusing to me because I'm reading for Scorpio, and Scorpio normally is not intimidated by diving into like deep stuff or like letting things sort of fall down and having to rebuild it, right? Like that's what we do. We burn everything down and then rise up from the ashes. So most of the time we're not intimidated by a lot of stuff, but this feels like intimidated energy. This feels like maybe I should just find anyone to keep me busy, to keep my attention, to keep me occupied so I don't have to deal with this stuff. Because this card on its own would just, I would be okay with this card on its own because it does have an energy of releasing, but it's almost like you start to release and then this energy comes into it. This really unfocused, impulsive type of energy. So I want to clarify this, okay? I just want to take a look at that and see. I'm going to move this over. I want to just see what's going on here. Specifically with that Knight of Wands. Okay. Some unfinished business around a relationship that did not go well. So you're wanting to... Sorry about that. That was probably loud. This is very interesting. I'm going to start here with the Star card reversed. There's a lot of heavy emotional energy on this card. It's like a level of like despair. This card also has a lot of energy around like feeling like disconnected. That's this Ten of Cups as well. This Ten of Cups does have, it can have a positive meaning, but I don't get that here because of the cards that it's with. This really does feel like someone who's fighting, allowing something to end, something that they know needs to end. It's interesting if you look at this with the star, how they did it. There's this in the center, which is more like a sun with the cups around it. I don't like this. I understand why, though. If having these realizations puts you into this, like, I don't really want to let this go. I don't want to let this end. and it puts you into this deep despair. I get why you might feel like I need to distract myself with someone because I need something light. I need something to like pull me out of this. I can get that. The Six of Swords is really interesting to me because there's lots, again, Ten of Cups is about, resisting an ending that needs to happen. The Six of Swords is another card that speaks to just resisting change. It can also talk about unfinished business. So I want to take a look at the Six of Swords and see what this, clarify the Six of Swords in reverse. I told you that was going to come out. Yes, okay. Just going to go through one more time here. I feel like that card wanted to go over there. I'm gonna assume it has something to do with that strength card. I'm gonna leave that one on its side. Ugh, guys, if this card had been reversed, I would have screamed. But the Magician coming out upright with the strength card, I do feel like it's over there. Scorpio, I feel like that's you, us. I feel like that's us. This is totally the energy that I was talking about. Do you see how this person is sort of, the Magician is sort of, they're balancing these items within their energy. They're trusting their energy around this. That's what I was saying earlier about looking at your friendships and saying, you know what? If you show up, I'm going to take that as a sign that I should go all in on you. I should invest in you. I should give you my time and my efforts and my attention. If you don't show up, I'm not even going to make a big deal about it. You can just float out of my life. Like stay or go, I'm okay either way. You get to decide what you're going to do. Stay or go. If you decide to stay, I'm all in. I'm 100%. If you decide to go, I'm not going to hold it against you. We're just parting ways. That feels very much like what I was talking about here. Now, you do have the Death card coming out here. This is the Scorpio card. This just represents cycles closing out, big transformation, big massive changes going on around a situation, and cycles coming to an end that are major cycles. At least cycles that you've repeated multiple times, but they could be lifelong cycles. Sometimes even cycles that have been past life, but that's typically more associated with like the world, that level of completion, or the Wheel of Fortune. But death as well, for me, can have that type of bigness. Okay. So this makes me happy because I do feel like all of this is going to close out. You're going to find closure on it. You're going to stop resisting this. Okay, because the Six of Swords and Ten of Cups, they do reference resisting change, but this is the ultimate change card. So this like cancels these out, right? So you will allow this change to happen, and there's going to be a lot of truth, a lot of mental clarity around this. It's interesting because I don't necessarily feel the vibe that this is a person. I feel like this is just energy. This Magician, working magic to allow these things to close out, it leads to just a lot of mental clarity for you, Scorpio, about who you can count on and who you can't. And the people that you realize you can count on, it's almost like you're on a mission to like make it up to them, to like show them how much you appreciate it. Okay. Now this Knight of Cups, I do feel like this is a person. It's come out on its side here, and in a way I kind of like that. And I'll tell you why. Okay, so if this card was upright, this is a very romantic, creative, charming type of person. This would be the type of person that you would just become fixated on them because of how their mind works, how their imagination works. But they're very outgoing as well. So it's someone who is just very charming, a very, very charming type of energy. If it's reversed, this is someone who can be a bit moody, maybe a little bit jealous. This is someone who thinks a little bit too much. Their imagination gets the best of them. I kind of like that it came out on its side, because here's what I'm going to say. I think for some of you listening to me, you need this night to show up. For some of you, you actually need this one. Again, Scorpios can get a little bit dark and twisty. We know this about the sign, right? Sometimes you want someone to come in and like, I don't even necessarily want to explain it the way that I almost did. Okay, I want to move on to this card, but they're not letting me move on from this. They want me to actually finish my thought. So as Scorpios, sometimes we need to have a very painful, negative experience. And maybe we find a person who aligns with us and that they also need to have that type of experience. And then we get to have that moment, we get to have that experience, we gain that knowledge, we get the information of what it feels like to have felt that much pain or that much hurt or that much betrayal, whatever it is. But it has to be like an excessive level for Scorpios to really be connected to it, because we experience such extreme emotions that learning a lesson from something through our feelings or our emotion requires us to go to the depth of that feeling or emotion. And sometimes that is pain or hurt, okay? So for some of you, you need this person who's going to come in and be a little bit moody and jealous and temperamental and, gets in their head about things and is a little bit frazzled about, whether or not to trust you. That's what you need. For some of you, you just need to find somebody who's cute and fun and charming and flirts, that you can just flirt with and have a good time. I feel like this is a 50-50 card, not necessarily a blockage card, just because I do feel such a strong, energy of a person. What's interesting is that I didn't feel it for the king, but I did for the knight. So I think, for some of you, this is something that it could be that the person is younger, but what I get more so is that it's not something that you're seeing as being a serious relationship. You're not necessarily looking for something that's super heavy and deep and special and meaningful right now. You're lightening everything up, and that includes your romantic relationships. It's like, you know what, if I can spend the next couple of months just being really flirty and having fun, yeah. So, so the King of Cups is a Scorpio card, and it's come out here reversed for the Scorpio reading. And this card is, again, just about like a fairly moody type of energy, but it's also like focusing on your own inner feelings. It can represent someone who's a bit emotionally manipulative. So I would say, Scorpios, try your best to avoid that. That's more into this Magician being reversed, that manipulative energy. But yeah, it fits where I was saying, I'm not going to get as serious, right? I'm not going to be as, the other way to look at this King of Cups is a cup that is a king that's ready to be in love when it's upright. When it's reversed, not necessarily yet, just holding back a little bit. Okay. Hopefully I've explained that well enough, because I feel like some people are going to be very offended by what I said, but sometimes you do. You pick people that are going to hurt you, because you feel like that's the experience that you need. That's the experience that you need to have, is to feel that whatever comes emotionally from that experience. Scorpios have a bit of a morbid curiosity about pain and heartache. And it can be a detriment for sure. This card is very interesting to me. This card is the card of, it can be a card of reconciliation. For me, it's more about making amends, asking for forgiveness, or giving other people, forgiving yourself, which I feel is very important. I talked about that, earlier in the reading. Scorpios turning that judgment onto themselves, learning to forgive yourself for the mistakes that you've made or the things that you've done. Yeah, 8 of Swords there. Up there you had it as well, reversed. It's come out here upright. I explained it earlier. I don't necessarily love this card when it's upright, because it's like, you're not even, it's like, girl, just stop. You can walk out. Your hands aren't tied. Take off the blindfold. You can do it. Just move on. I get angry with this type of energy, because it's very much like, okay, Stop. You're in your head too much. Stop being a victim. That's how I read this card as a reader. With these two cards together here, okay, I'll say this. If you're in a place where you're trying to decide whether or not you should forgive someone, whether it's somebody else or yourself, always forgive. Like, that can just be a default to always forgive, because that's about, forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person. Okay? Always forgive. There's no reason not to forgive yourself, Scorpio. There's no reason. Because the simple fact that you're beating yourself up about whatever you did in the past means that you now know it wasn't right, that it wasn't something you should have done. So that means you grew from the experience. Okay, so there's no reason to continue beating yourself up about it. This is a deep reading, you guys. I was going to try to keep it pretty short. We're a little bit over 30 minutes. I'm just going to go through this deck one time just to see what wants to come out. You have the Seven of Wands coming out reversed. No, this is just, I get it. We've talked about this. It's that place of just feeling overwhelmed and feeling like maybe it was wherever I was talking about here, right? Getting to the point where it just feels so heavy that this star card, all of this energy here, remember this part of the reading? This is connected to that. It's just overwhelmed and just feeling like maybe I should just give up on this, and feeling exhausted. Like, why is this time different? Why am I going to learn this lesson this time? Why is this not going to go wrong this time? It's a very negative energy. I'm wondering if I'm picking up on a new group of Scorpios who are in some much more of a painful spot, because I can't imagine so many of you have sort of wound up in this painful situation so quickly. Well, maybe that's the answer. You have the High Priestess coming out reversed. Like, this is the place where this magician disconnects from their magic. They disconnect from their intuition. That's where this High Priestess reversed is. Did you guys do that? What is this High Priestess reversed? Why is the High Priestess reversed here? Why is the High Priestess reversed? The Ten of Wands coming out on its side. Yeah, because you haven't... Alright, I'm going to shortcut this card really quickly, just keep the video somewhat short. When this card is upright for me as a reader, this is somebody realizing that they have to put in more effort, they have to work harder, they have to carry more of the load. When it's reversed, it's someone who's accepted that and is okay with it. Right? They're like, well, you know what, if I have to do it all, I'll do it all. If I have to carry the burden, I'm fine. I can do that. Like, they're releasing that feeling of it being forced upon them and just seeing it as something of which they're capable. With it coming out on its side here, as a clarifier for this High Priestess, and why that card's reversed, it's almost like, Scorpios, you're right on the brink of being okay, being on your own. Like, to go all the way back to the beginning. Of realizing, hey, you know what, maybe I don't need anyone. And being okay with that. It doesn't mean you're never going to have anyone in your life. You obviously will have people in your life. But the people who are in your life will be people that you've chosen to be there. People that you've allowed in. People that you have seen demonstrate that they're worthy of it, that you can trust them. Okay? Now, don't continuously test people. Don't continuously make people jump through hoops of fire to reprove themselves to you. If you're connected to your intuition, which is that High Priestess when she's upright, if you can flip that High Priestess around and trust your intuition, you'll realize that you don't have to test people, because you'll always know where you stand with people, Scorpio, when you're connected to your intuition. It's Way too many cards. You guys are wanting to know too much. I am going to be back for readings for the first... I'm going to do weekly readings during December since I moved and I have a bit more time to focus on the videos. So in December I'm doing weeklies just to see what you guys think about it, what I think about it. So you guys will be getting a new reading for the first week of December pretty soon. So I don't want to go too far into this. I keep saying I'm going to go through one more time, but I'm like wanting to get more answers. Let me do this. I have this deck off to the side. It's the Everyday Witch deck. And I'm thinking with this deck, guys, I've been thinking for a while about doing a giveaway with this deck. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm only going to announce it here in the Scorpio video because you guys do end up with the most views consistently. Of my top 10 videos, 4 of them are Scorpio related videos. So I think I'm just going to announce this here. But I'm going to do a giveaway for this deck. And so what I'm going to do is just to anyone who comments on the video, I'm just going to pick someone randomly from the comments, and that will be the winner, and I'll give them this deck. So this, these readings that I do, I'll give it, let's say, a week from the day that I post the video, that you can comment on the video. And then after a week, I'll actually take a look at it and see, pick a number randomly and count down the comments or something. I'll figure that part out. So I'm just sort of making this up in the moment. But yeah, we'll do our first giveaway here. I'm actually going to give away this deck. I really do love this deck, but I feel like it's time to pass it along to someone else. So if you just want the deck for some reason, just because, or if you are a reader and you would like to have this deck, or if you would want to learn, then just drop a comment. Just any comment in the comments below, and I'll pick from that, okay? So I just want to get this deck, and I just want to see what comes out. I'm not going to try to clarify anything specifically. I feel like we have a good lay of the land here. I just want to see what wants to come out. I'll go through twice. Okay, one more time. Nothing. Okay, they're done. They will be back together soon. We'll be back together in like a week. They're saying this is enough for now. So I am going to go back to the Oracle deck, though. I just want to get a couple of these to wrap this up for you guys. What advice or guidance do you have for Scorpios for their bonus reading for November 2019? Okay. Anything else for Scorpio? Any additional messages for Scorpio? Nope. Just this one. Okay. You guys see that? So the more energy and intention I bring to my faith, the more fearless and free I am. So Scorpio, I think that's a great message to end this on. And it's so true. Like, think about what you want your life to look like. Allow people to either fit that or fall away from it. And don't judge yourself for that. You've earned having the life that you want to have. And the people who are meant to be in that life will be. And the people who are meant to move on will move on. You don't have to really do anything except just be fearless about what might happen, because that fearlessness is what really brings you freedom. I think that's what I might call this video. The fearlessness is what brings you freedom. So, Scorpios, I always love reading for you guys, and I do just want to say thank you again for all the support that you give the channel. It means so much to me, and, I appreciate you guys so much. I joke that the channel is probably around 80% Scorpio, but I do believe that's very accurate. And we add on more and more Scorpios every time I do a Scorpio reading. So I think we're going to see those numbers grow a lot during the month of December. I'm looking forward to doing the weekly readings and seeing how those go. If you did love this reading, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And also make sure to drop a comment if you want to try to win this deck. And I think that's it, Scorpio. I love you guys so much. Thank you again. No, I was just joking. I'm going to put some videos here for you guys, just in case you want to hang out and just watch some more of me. You can just pick one, and I'll meet you there for that video, okay?